Welcome to Leading the Way, and my guest today is Amy Goodson. In Leading the Way, if you've joined us last month, you've learned a lot about managing in crisis. This is a series dedicated to leading with experts who talk about their valuable experiences to bring you a range of topics in leadership to help grow your grow you professionally and personally. Today's topic is talent development, and I can't wait to hear about it from Amy. Amy, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing all right. Amy, my guest today, she is an HR and leadership and culture certified. She has certifications from all over, which is amazing and exciting. Amy is a consultant with over 15 years of expertise in HR and leadership. She's a results focused leader dedicated to creating robust corporate cultures that promote continuous business growth and cultivate customer loyalty by empowering and motivating employees to realize their full potential. Amy's career began with a global manufacturing organization right here in Dearborn, right? I heard in my
Yes, yes,
hometown. Yay!
yes.
She has a bachelor's degree in communications with a concentration in human resources from University of Louisville. Her extensive experience includes leading global training events in the US and Canada, and she has held various roles such as HR generalist, HR manager, director of learning and development, AVP People and Culture, and VP of HR and Talent Development in the banking industry. Interesting. Amy's greatest career accomplishment is the impact she has made through training countless individuals, guided by her philosophy of servant leadership. Yay, yay to servant leadership. She is passionate about helping others become the best version of themselves to achieve their life goals. And she is a John Maxwell certified speaker, trainer, coach, disc trainer, and consultant. She's a SHRM certified diversity professional, Strength Finder certified facilitator, and certified life coach. Amy, when do you sleep?
Not much.
Welcome to Leading the Way, and today you're talking to us about talent development. So I'm going to go ahead and give it away to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the introduction. I am thrilled to be here with you all today and just really excited to talk about unlocking your potential in regards to talent development. Talent development is something that is just near and dear to my heart. As you know, stated, I spent many years in the HR realm in the HR role. And then when I finally decided to leave the corporate world a few years ago, I really had to do some soul searching and figure out what part of HR is it that really motivates me and excites me. And that really is the talent development portion, really working with people, providing knowledge, providing training, and really having conversations with people and helping coach them to really find out what they are passionate about and how they can take that passion to become that best version of themselves. And you know, one of the most crucial things that I find for individual success, but also for the progress of our society today as a whole, is talent development. As you know, in today's rapidly changing world, the way that we nurture and develop talent development has never been more important. If we look at the evolving nature of talent, traditionally, talent was seen as just an innate ability. It was something you were born with. But over time, we've learned to understand that talent is far more dynamic. It's really more about the potential and how that potential is cultivated. Typically, that's cultivated with different leaders and mentors and coaches that individuals have in an organization. Of course, the digital age has done nothing but revolutionize how we approach talent. It's opened the doors to give us so many more opportunities to find that development in areas that we would have never had before. With access now to vast amounts of knowledge and information, all those resources that we have online, anyone can develop any skills and knowledge, and you can do it on your own time. For example, you have platforms like YouTube and Coursera, Khan Academy, places like that that offer free tutorials and courses on anything from coding to cooking. And this democratization of knowledge just means that talent can be discovered and developed in the most unexpected places. Many jobs you're no longer required to have a formal education. And so many opportunities are more afforded to people now because of this opportunities. But as well as I do, many of the skills are constantly evolving in our workplace today. And according to the World Economic Forum, by 2025, many, if not up to half of our employees are going to need reskilling. So that really, the shift is causing us to really be more forced to grow this mindset that we have in regard to talent development. And it's really become a belief that our abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. It's no longer a world where we just rely on what we already know. We've continuously have to seek out new learning opportunities. And we're just so fortunate that we have so many different ways that we can do that in our workforce today. Lifelong learning has really become an important topic as well too in regards to talent development. And that's really the ongoing, voluntary, self-motivated pursuit of knowledge. I myself am a lifelong learner. I don't know that I'll ever stop learning. It's just a passion of mine. And it's not necessarily so much that I want to learn and grow and develop for myself. It's so that I can take that knowledge and how can I help others? It's almost like a reservoir or a library for me where I can look back and take that information that I've learned and apply it to people that I work and coach with on a regular basis. It really enhances our understanding of the world, provides us more better opportunities, helps us provide others with better opportunities, and it can improve our quality of life. It's all about that constant evolving and adapting to new challenges and opportunities that we are afforded and encounter in our daily life. If you take a look at the CEO of Microsoft, Mr. Nadella really emphasizes a learn it all culture versus a know it all culture. And that mind shift has really been instrumental in Microsoft's resurgence as a tech leader. He himself is a voracious learner. He talks about constantly updating his skills and knowledge, which really in turn has become he's become an example for his team there. And his entire organization can see through him his drive and passion for learning, that continuous lifelong learning. And it's something that others become very interested in as well too. And that lifelong learning can take so many different forms. It can be formal education, it could be online courses, it can be workshops, it can be events such as this that we're doing right now, reading, learning from our peers and mentors. So many of us even learn from TikTok. I love TikTok because it's a learning platform. There's so many things that I learn on there. And it's even leadership things that I learned, leadership topics, to how to fix the dishwasher and not have to call a repairman, little things like that. And it just really helps us to stay curious and open-minded. So just remembering that, formal education isn't the only way that you can learn, develop, and grow and achieve those goals that you have in life. In fact, that's just the beginning. There's so much more out there, real world scenarios. We all have mistakes that we make along the way. And for me, those are some of the best lessons I have learned over life. Life experiences, making those mistakes, seeing others make those mistakes, but remembering those lessons and really remembering those when you move forward, whether it's you making sure you don't make the same mistake or coaching and helping others, mentoring them so they don't encounter those same obstacles as you did as well. It's also really, really important as we talk about talent development to talk about the role of inclusive environments when we're talking about talent development. Creating an inclusive environment means really fostering a culture where everyone feels valued and everyone has an opportunity to contribute their unique talents. In my experience, in my leadership role, I was, the roles that I've had in the past, I've been very, very fortunate to work with global companies, and I have learned so much from my global colleagues around the world. At one point, I was on a team of 5, and my colleagues were from Mexico, Brazil, Canada, and Guatemala. And I learned more being on that team than any other team I've ever been on. Plus, we all just love sharing. And it was a rare opportunity when we all got to get together in one location. But when we did, we were so passionate about learning from each other and sharing our different experiences, different scenarios that we lived every day. And we also had fun sharing. We would take turns bringing things from our home country from each other. So whether that was, I got Havaiana flip flops from Brazil, or candies from Mexico, maple syrup from Canada. It was a great way to really get to know each other, but also really learn some valuable lessons about different cultures and how unique perspectives can just truly impact not only your learning and development and growth, but the organizations as a whole. Those diverse teams and those diverse ideas, I came up with that group. We came up with more innovative solutions than I've ever had in another team. Those ideas that were brought forward were just mind blowing. And we made so much progress where I hadn't seen that in the past with a US based team. When you see that firsthand, you really learn and appreciate and understand the importance of that diversity, and especially when it comes to new ideas and solutions. Research has even shown that companies that have more diverse teams perform better, even financially, the results are better, and they're more likely to capture new markets where they've never ventured before. For example, if you take a look at the tech company Adobe, they've implemented several initiatives to promote diversity and inclusion. They have trainings on a regular basis, such as unconscious bias, and they have a program in place to ensure pay equity across gender and race throughout their organization. And while, even some organizations do that for purely selfish reasons, right? It can help them financially. These efforts not only enhance employee satisfaction, but it has driven creativity and innovation within the company. They've really seen increases in huge percentages when it comes to employee engagement. And when you're engaged and you're excited about going to work each day, productivity is going to increase. It's just a natural process with that. So, having that inclusivity, you've got to make sure that you're providing equal opportunities for talent development in your organization. That can look different for every organization. For some, it could mean creating mentoring programs. Others, it's making sure that everybody has access to training and resources.
Mhm.
And in others, it's just making sure that there's a clear path for career advancement. And unfortunately, I've seen some organizations where that's not always the case. So you want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity for that career advancement in your organization. And when people feel like they're being supported and recognized, they're more likely to invest in their own development, and they're more likely to contribute positively to organizations when they feel that representation in those succession pipelines, and they see other people in leadership roles and other people being promoted and growing and developing that look very similar to them or have similar experiences as them. So I think, the role of inclusive environments when it comes to talent development is something that unfortunately is overlooked, but so impactful to the employees in an organization and to the organization overall. Talent development is something that is just so critically important as we continue to grow. Most people think they look at talent development and it's just the technical skills. We've got, new systems, new software, it's not that. Actually, that's the easy part of talent development. development. Talent development, when it really comes to soft skills, leadership skills, is so critical. And as the research shows, I think that's going to be even more critical in future generations. Some of that has to do with technology. We have a lot of our younger generations who don't know how to communicate because they don't have to communicate. They communicate, by tech means. So those soft skills are going to become even more critical to be a portion of the talent development conversations that are being had. But it's really about embracing the evolving nature of talent development, where we're going with talent development. Um, Individuals, each of us ourselves really being committed to that lifelong learning, what that looks like for us, what that looks like for your employees, making sure that those opportunities are there. And, like I said, it doesn't always have to be expensive. It can be free courses through Khan Academy, Coursera. It can be relatively inexpensive trainings with organization, LinkedIn learnings, things like that. And it can also just be mentoring, setting up those mentoring conversations and sharing those best practices and those lessons learned from other leaders in the organization. As long as people feel like they have an opportunity to grow and develop, whether that's meeting one-on-one with leaders in the organization or taking some courses, that is where, as leaders and as organizations, you're really going to be able to unlock the full potential of individuals and really drive progress in our communities and our organizations. Some people aren't really sure where to start. How do I set some goals for talent development, even if it's for yourself or for others? There's a free download on the call as well too, really setting your goal workbook that kind of walks you through how to do that. So I would encourage you to take a look at that and see maybe if that's a tool that can help you. But I think really as we move forward, as we're thinking about the importance of talent development in each of our organizations, let's remember that everybody has the potential to develop their talents and to achieve greatness. A lot of times it's our responsibility as leaders to make sure that we're having the conversations, making sure that we are creating or providing opportunities for growth, that we're supporting each other's journeys. But I think most importantly, too, is just celebrating the successes. And I don't know if you're like me, sometimes I get so focused on learning and growing that I forget sometimes to stop and celebrate my own successes. And that's really important as well, too. You have to celebrate your own successes, remember the hard work that you've done, and take some time out to celebrate in whatever way, is important to you. But
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. And so many people forget that. That's such an important thing because that's what keeps us motivated. That's what keeps us going. But I think, if we take the time, we can really inspire and support each other on this journey of talent development. I think it's just making sure that those conversations are being had, supporting each other, making sure that we are setting the goals and being committed to it, just like anything else in our world today. If we don't get intentional with our growth, then it's not going to happen. Nobody's going to go out there and try to develop ourselves. We're going to have to be intentional about doing it for ourselves. So, I appreciate that.
I like that. Amy, I want to touch back on a point you started with that I think is so important. You mentioned that talent isn't as it was believed to be is not inherent and actually can be
Mhm.
learned, but
Yes.
um, it can be learned. But here's what I'd like to add to that. So we have all these technologies and all these great things out there, all these resources that we can learn from, but I want to say, don't just learn this stuff. Go
Mhm.
out there and actually put it to work.
Yeah.
Practice. I don't think that you're actually learning anything by just consuming the information or the knowledge unless you put it into practice. What do you think about that?
Yes, I completely agree. What came to mind when you said that is I remember when I first got my certification to do DISC behavioral assessments. And I thought, I want to do this. but I'm a little nervous to get out and do it, in front of a group of, co-employees or colleagues,
Mhm.
do it for a business, but I've got to practice. I've got to put it in place to really get to understand it. So everybody in my family took disc assessments and I had trainings and I went through and talked about, okay, so my daughters, how can you communicate better together? This is your disc style, this is yours. We really learned a lot as a family, but it was great practice for me to get comfortable with the information and the material before I actually went and started marketing that to businesses and doing that work with my colleagues. But I completely agree. You can learn and learn and learn, but if you don't put it in place, you can't get proficient. It's just like years ago taking multiple years in college of Spanish classes. And now, if you don't use it, you lose it. I can order food, I can find the bathroom, but if you don't put it into practice, you lose it. So I absolutely agree with you. I think that's a fantastic point.
And that is a very, very valuable insight that you just added to show that even if you don't have, the team or the experience, that you could still find a way to actually put that to practice. Actually, I
Yes.
smiled because I did the same, not with my family, but with my friends, a couple of my buddies, where I
Yes.
practiced disc assessment. I wanted to make sure that I know what I'm talking about before I go
Yes.
out there. So there is always a way. The other thing that I think is super important that you mentioned is that a lot of the organizations out there, they hire somebody for, the talent, the experience, and then that somebody gets thrown into the position, and maybe they get some training on the mechanical things of, the
Right.
technical things of how to do, but there's so much missing from that, and that
Mhm.
is all the soft skills, the communication, how to work with others,
Yeah.
how to make yourself understood, and how to understand your team. I think being able to get out of that silo and work
Mhm.
with others in a collaborative manner is so important. And I know that uh, this generation values the talent development a lot, and
Yes, I
they
do.
appreciate that in the workplace.
Yes, I
So
do.
I appreciate you saying that. That is so important. And I wanted to we have a couple minutes. Yay! there, this time seems to fly whenever we're
I
learning, right?
know. I know.
With we have a lot of amazing solopreneurs who start out and they do their own thing, and they are the CEO, the IT, receptionist, the everything, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned a couple of ways that they can actually also go out and develop that talent, and hopefully once they have their own staff and their own employees, that they take, advantage and take the opportunity to mentor their team and to develop their team. What what can they do? Is there a way maybe for them to I know you mentioned your handout. It's really amazing that you have that. What can a solopreneur do? Where do they start? And they have their checklist is much longer than any other
Yes.
employer.
It is. That's a great question. I think for me, it's when I have been in that situation, it's finding like-minded individuals who have gone through that process before. And it depends on what you have in your community. Sometimes there's nothing. I'm very fortunate in my local community. Through our chamber, we have a self-starter solopreneur entrepreneurial business, small business group. And there are like-minded individuals there going through the same struggles. And one of the things that I have found that people that go through that organization, through that meeting, is, oh my gosh, I went through that and I did this. Or, hey, have you thought about doing this? And it's all about, a lot of times when you're in that position, you've never done those things and you don't know what you don't know. And that's where you can get into trouble sometimes. So I think it's really important that you reach out, you find a support group like your Facebook group, things like that, where you can bounce these ideas off people. The information and the networking that you get from those types of groups are just invaluable, right? There's so much knowledge that can be shared that really can save you a lot of time. It can save you a lot of headache, and hopefully, get you to where you want to be in a shorter amount of time, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm a part of a lot of small business Facebook groups, and
Mhm.
there are some people who've already done a lot of the things that I
Right.
want to do, and it doesn't hurt to ask, and there's no charge to being a
Yeah,
part of these groups. That's the
absolutely.
beauty, as a solopreneur, most of people start out spending a lot more money than making it.
Yeah.
So it's great to have these free resources. And another free resource that I would like to mention is the Score, score.org.
Okay.
Um, that and that Score.org, and I do not recall what the SCORE stand for, but it is Score.org, and it is a completely free resource for small businesses. And what they do is provide webinars such as this one and other webinars where they help small businesses figure out a lot of things, like how to create your business plan, or how to start or come up, I don't know, start a loan or something like that. There's so many different things. You can actually get a Score mentor, somebody with a lot of experience who can help you with that. So there's so
That's
much more
amazing.
than what I just mentioned right now. I don't recall everything, all the resources that they have, but that's good to have and good to know for those starting out, that they don't have to do everything on their own.
That is amazing. Amazing.
And what's one last thing you'd like to mention before we close today about talent development?
I think it's, whether it's a small business and you've got, a staff of one, or if you are a leader in an organization and, you have multiple people that you're working with, I think even, more so than ever, talent development is going to be something that people crave. I have worked with organizations and interviewed several people just in the last few days for different organizations who are looking for that as part of the benefit program, the benefit packages that are being offered. With the younger generations coming forward, as we mentioned, they will take a lower salary if they can have talent development, if they can have someone to mentor them. These things are going to be more important than ever. So it's critical that you're having these conversations. It's critical that you make sure that these types of sessions are happening. And again, just remember, it doesn't have to be a costly thing to provide that talent development for your staff and for yourself. You have to remember to invest in yourself as well too, because if you can't learn and grow, you can't help others learn and grow in your organization. You have to continue to grow as a leader in order for your organization to continue to grow.
I think that's a great message to end with. Grow yourself first, model what you preach, right? Walk the talk. Amazing. Thank you so much, Amy, for your time. And thank
Yes.
you so much for this valuable insight. And next month, I'll be meeting with Darren Mann, who will be talking about the 3 pillars of learning. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it a mystery. And he's going to actually be also sharing his ebook with our attendees. Thank you so much for coming to lead the way, and we'll see you next month.